Hi Cancer and Cancer Rising, here is your horoscope for August 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, this is a very important month for many of you. So if you're a Cancer Rising or a Cancer Sun sign, this is a very general overview of what the planets are suggesting using Western tropical astrology, using the whole house system. This is where we put the sign right there on the first house of identity and self, and then we place all the planets in the corresponding houses. And then when they move, I go to that time frame or that date, and I show you. Again, it has to be very basic and general because your birth chart could be completely different. The alignments could be completely different. And of course, your birthday is going to be completely different. Not everyone's birthday under the sign of Gemini acts the same way. So anyway, very basic, but it'll still give you a good idea of what is going on here. Okay, so we start off the month. We have Venus now in Cancer in the first house along with Jupiter. So you're getting a lot more attention this month, whether you like it or not. You're focusing on your relationships. You're focusing on your physical appearance. You're focusing on, other people in general, because Venus is now going through Cancer. Now, the downside to Venus in Cancer is you may be worrying a little bit more about your home life, your family, or your partnerships, or lack thereof. And so this, Cancer is very self-protective, and it's going into analytical mode, especially since Mercury is in retrograde. We have 4 planets in retrograde, which means that we're going within or we're going backwards, and we're trying to figure things out. So this is kind of like trying to drive the car with the parking brake on, You're not going to get far. But anyway, it's time for reviewing a lot of your belief systems, your values, maybe even income, things related to money matters because it's in the second house. Now, there's other things going on here this month, like Mars is going to switch signs and go into Libra, which again is going to be about relationships. We now have Uranus in Gemini for the first time in 84 years, which is going to be huge as well. But it's not going to directly affect you right now. Okay, Uranus is about in the 12th house. It's about your subconscious. It's about your spirituality and sort of the mystical side of life. So you might find a lot of growth in that area. But for the most part, this month is really all about you and relationships, especially having to do with the home environment, because Mars will be in this 4th house. That actually happens on August, on the 6th into the 7th. Mars enters Libra. Now, Mars does not do too well in Libra because Mars is aggressive and wants to move forward, and Libra is very docile, passive, wants peace and quiet and tranquility. So its energy is kind of like diminished in a sense. So in astrology we call this a detriment. Doesn't work well when a planet is in a sign that it does not work well in. It's called a detriment. So this is going to be highlighting the 4th house of home, feeling, and foundation. This is the house that is normally associated with Cancer. And so things pertaining to relationships, family dynamics, your feelings, anything to do with beautifying the home, these are all going to be the theme here as Mars makes its way through this 4th house. And so again, relationships are going to take front and center because Mars is in the relationship sign of Libra, and Venus is the ruler of Libra. So again, relationships are going to be a very important part of your life, especially the whole month. Okay, so pay attention to the relationships and the conversations you have with others. The full moon this month on the 9th will highlight the 8th house of transformation. This has a lot to do with your psyche and your well-being. Now, a full moon in Aquarius will have you thinking outside the box and having unusual thoughts and, maybe even going down memory lane and remember when we did this, remember when we did that kind of feeling. The moon is your ruler. So every month when we have a full moon, you guys feel it. And so this is all about coming to a realization about something. Could have something to do with financial matters or investments. Could have something to do with possibly a sexual relationship. The 8th house does have to do with sexuality as well too, so I have to throw that in there. So it's, there's many possibilities, but I'm giving you a general overview of what the full moon in Aquarius represents. So it's really thinking of outside the box, but your mind will be super active this month, so pay attention to where you focus your energy. Now, Mercury goes direct in Leo on the 11th right there. There it is in stationary position before it begins to pick up speed, usually within a week or so. And so now you might start to get a little more clarity. You might start to focus more on financial endeavors. You might start to focus more on creative endeavors. Mercury in Leo moving direct is very creative. So you're going to find yourself in a very creative mindset. Of course, the Leo sun is absolutely helping you, at least until the 22nd. It's in the second house. So there's a lot to be grateful for here because of the Leo sun. And that started really around July the 23rd when the sun entered Leo, and then it continues into this month, at least until the 22nd of August. So this is going to be positive energy along with Mercury now going direct. So take advantage of opportunities, or if you see a potential of some kind in a sort of an investment or an opportunity to change something, I would say go for it. Especially when on the 12th, there is a wonderful alignment between Jupiter and Venus. And it's in your sign, in your first house of identity and self. So this suggests just feeling very fortunate. Maybe there is a loved one that tells you how much they care about you. Maybe you've just bought a new home. Maybe you're doing something with your children. But this is one of the luckiest, more fortunate alignments in the zodiac when Jupiter conjuncts Venus. And so this could be, winning a couple of bucks on a lottery. It could be a major change, somebody giving you something, or getting a lot of attention for something that you've done. Could be recognition because it's the first house of persona and self. Maybe you're buying yourself a new outfit. Whatever it is, there's a very fortunate feeling with this Jupiter conjunct Venus. So take advantage of opportunities if you're invited out, or you need to go check something out, or you're curious about something. You should absolutely investigate it and see where it takes you. Now, the sun enters Virgo late on the 22nd into the 23rd, and now the dynamics completely shift because Virgo energy is completely different than Leo energy. Virgo energy is analytical, it is worrisome, it likes to focus on all the small details, it over-worries about everything, and there it is right there in the third house of communication. So you find yourself overthinking and, at this point, and trying to perfect things, trying to get things right, and you're worrying a lot about what people think about you and so on and so forth. But again, there is a lot of relationship matters that are going on this month that you need to focus on. So maybe you're in a relationship or a lack of relationship and it's bothering you in some way. That is the kind of energy, because Virgo is constantly chasing perfection, subconsciously. And your sign, Cancer, is a sign that worries a little too much too, because it's seeking security. So one is seeking perfection and Cancer is seeking security. So when you got that combination, you got to be careful because you find yourself over worrying for no apparent reason. So that's why I'm suggesting that. Now the new moon also highlights the sign of Virgo this month at 0 degrees, right there in the third house. So it's time to change your thinking. You're going to have to start thinking outside the box, thinking differently in some capacity. So over the course of the next 2 weeks, you have this opportunity to change your mind or change the way you view things or change how you look at things. And so this is going to be very important for many of you. This could have something to do with health matters. Maybe you're starting an exercise program. Maybe you're trying to eat healthier. You're focusing on your physical health in some way, or maybe you're helping somebody else with their health in some way. This is very possible here. Okay, again, depending on your birth chart, this could bring in some opportunities. Now, Venus enters Leo on the 25th into the 26th, right there. Also very positive energy for many of you, having to do with funding, financing, opportunities for romance. Venus in Leo can be very romantic and very much out there and wants to be seen and heard. But Venus in the second house could have a lot to do with financial matters like investing or making more money and stuff like that. So there's definitely plenty of opportunity to do that. But there is a cautionary alignment that I need to bring to your attention on the 27th. Venus will be opposing powerful Pluto. And anytime there's an opposition like this could be a power struggle with another person, or it could be a financial matter that is very important that you have to address, like, taxes or, some unforeseen expense that comes out of nowhere. If you're lucky, maybe some money comes your way in some way, but it is very powerful and it is a transformational alignment. So just pay attention a couple of days as this transit is activated, okay? Anyway, there's the general overview. If you want to know more, I do an extended version of this horoscope each month in my Inner Circle community, as you can see here. We teach astrology. We have Zoom calls every Sunday. Members get to ask me questions. They'll send me a chart. I'll answer a few questions about a chart. We talk about everything from conspiracies to UFOs to who's doing what. And of course, my members have a heads up of what's coming, ahead of time. And so, you have an opportunity to be a part of a great group of people that is really, willing to learn and go down the rabbit hole to figure things out, and I'm there to help them. Anyway, there's a 7-day free trial. There's a link down below. Check it out, and I look forward to seeing you in the community, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.